Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to Models Memories Weekly, episode 111. Models Memories is a show about nothing and it is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where I talk about my painting, modeling, and wargaming experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 YouTube videos a week. How could I possibly have more to say? Well, I do. So here goes. This week, Games Workshop came out with tons and tons of new miniatures, basically something new for every single one of their game systems. They have resurrected one of their best kits of all time, and a very spicy kit from Forge World has made its way over to Games Workshop's web store. But first, let me throw a scenario at you. You need an apocalypse level of terrain, but you only have about 3 hours to get it ready for gaming. Typically, this would be an impossible task, but not with today's sponsor, Jucoci. The Jakoshi Battlezone Creation Kit is 36 pieces of high-quality MDF terrain, more than enough to populate a 4x6 gaming table. Everything is printed on both sides, so no matter where you look at it, you will see detail. It contains a dozen shipping containers, 12 multi-level destroyed buildings so big Imperial Knights can hide behind them, and each building comes with a set of shutters so the windows can be open or closed. These pieces are a really clever way of having forest in an urban setting. These are the snapped-off supports of a building or bridge. And it comes with 6 of these sewer grates, which the interior diameter is exactly 6 inches, perfect for representing primary objectives. This kit is the fastest way to a full board of terrain, and if you want to give it a try yourself, you can follow the link in the description below. I want to talk about Kill Team. Big shocker, I know, but Kill Team got a bunch of releases, which is going to have to tide us over until basically the end of the year, because apparently Kill Team is on pause to make room for big 40K, which is fine. It's fine. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. But we did see some really cool stuff. Join the Inquisition to hunt a mutating chaos cult in the new Kill Team expansion campaign. This is actually really cool. It's a different thing than the typical doubles boxes with some terrain and like one new little terrain feature that we've sort of never seen before, but it doesn't really change how the game is played overall. And it's exactly what I asked for. And it's fine, but the miniatures, let's get into the miniatures, because I asked for a Kill Team based on the Inquisition. It's perfect. The Eisenhorn novels, like there's so much great Inquisitor stuff of you got one really important fella and then they get a gaggle of recruits around them from all different places in the galaxy, all different types of warriors to just do their missions. Every now and then they'll even grab like a filthy Xenos or a demon to work beside them. It's some really interesting stuff. And this warband is just a little bit too plain. Like, the Inquisition is wild, and maybe I'm just thinking too much of the old artwork, of the old, like, pen artwork on white paper, where it's just incredibly covered in terrain and grim dark and evil-looking, skulls on top of skulls on top of skulls. I mean, the Eisenhorn miniature that Games Workshop sells is wearing, like, 3 coats on top of a coat, on top of, like, an armored breastplate. He's super bedazzled. And these guys are just kind of normal. We've got like a priesty guy with 1 candle. Like give us a dozen candles, not just one little candle. I do like the eye patch. It's a nice eye patch, but overall, it's fine. It's just fine. The Necromunda gangers, or I guess one of them is a Necromunda ganger, and one of them is probably not a Kazarkin. They're from the Death World of Catachan. A Catachan jungle fighter, which is actually a reimagining of an old figure that Games Workshop used to sell for their large-scale Inquisitor game. Really fun guys. And then we got some priests. Actually, I think one of them is an astropath, although I really like the astropath from the Euclidean Starstriders, like with the gigantic, crazy head and the weird robes, where this fella has just got a bandana over his eyes. Like, at least, I mean, I'd be tempted to like paint like the third eye onto his bandana, and I like his little staff. The hobo with the shotgun is really fun. It's a really fun miniature. I love his ridiculously weird like Friar Tuck haircut. It's really fun. And who doesn't love a good old-fashioned shotgun? And then we've got probably my favorite minis of this collection, what could be the Inquisitor, or maybe just a really cool inquisitorial agent, and some sort of a sister of battle has been recruited into the fold with a humongous eviscerator chainsword and bulging biceps, just ready to rock and roll. And then we got some really cool figures in the Scribe and the Combat Servitor. We haven't seen Combat Servitors for almost 20 years. Actually, I think there was one in Black Space Vengeance, Black Crusade, Black Hawk Down, Black Hulk, Blackstone Fortress. Holy cow, I am off my 40k game today. These miniatures are really, really cool. However, you don't get them all. Unfortunately, if you keep reading 7 Intrepid Mortals, if you look closely at the first 4 miniatures shown off, the priest, the soldiers, the Friar Tuck guy, and the astropath, and the inquisitorial agents, you have to pick which one you want. And so you're not gonna get it all. Like, it would be, I want all the new things. I want all of the new characters. I don't wanna have to pick. Some of them aren't super, super hard choices, like double sword guy versus single candle guy. I think I'd go with single candle guy. Gotta go with the jungle fighter, because I have some Necromunda gangers that would slot in pretty easily. But if you're gonna make them like dual kits, at least throw in an extra sprue. This box comes with 40 miniatures, and it comes with the Tempestus Scions and the Sisters of Silence, which the Sisters of Silence aren't even pictured in this article. Just don't give us the Sisters of Silence and give us another set of inquisitorial agents. That way I can have them all. I want to Pokemon collect them all, and I don't get to. I'm definitely not getting 2 of these boxes. And so I guess we're gonna hopefully see those released separately as a 7-man kill team, even though you're supposed to use these and some of the other units. The Tempestus Scions are really, really sweet. I have a kill team of them. They're one of the really, really strong things still kicking around from the original compendium for Kill Team 21. Really, really solid team. Good shooting, decent saves, really, really good guns. They have some really good rules. 2 guys per turn can go up to 3 activation, which can really, really throw your opponent off balance, because all of a sudden everybody could potentially be taking an extra action. It's a really, really solid kill team. And speaking of really solid kill teams, the other half of this box is phenomenal. It is all of the new cultists for the Chaos Space Marines. You've got the cultist leaders, regular old cultists, and the accursed cultists. They're one of my favorite new miniatures. They're so Cronenberg-y and evil and mean. I absolutely love them. The Chaos half of this box looks like it's going to be so much fun, and this is a narrative box. So it's meant to be played over the course of many, many games, and I can't wait to see normal piddly cultists either become like blessed leaders of the cult or turn into just evil chaos spawns. I think it's gonna be a really, really fun way to play Kill Team. And even if the agents of the Inquisition aren't knocking my socks off, they're still pretty darn cool and really, really good fodder for conversion, because really every single team of Inquisitors would be completely different. So I have tons and tons of miniatures in my bit bin for fodder. This is gonna be a really, really interesting box. I can't wait. It's super cool, and I cannot wait to see what Kill Team Season 3 looks like. Kill Team Season 1 was great, although the terrain was nice, but after Octeris, the first box with the Kriegs and the Orcs, that terrain was phenomenal. And then after that, they just kind of threw in 40k terrain that didn't really work great for Kill Team, where Into the Dark was phenomenal, beautiful, like tight corridors. You would just create a maze on the tabletop. Really, really good stuff. And so I would assume Season 3 is gonna be a little bit of both. Apparently it's going to be taking place in the jungle, so maybe some sort of like a combination of the two. You've got plants and trees and rocks, but then you've also got like interior spaces where your guys are safe from like Overwatch shooting, but they're stuck in these tight corridors and really, really susceptible to close combat. There's a lot of things they could do with Season 3, and I'm really excited to see what it's gonna be. And speaking of new models for skirmish games, Warcry has gotten a new box. Warcry is a really fun game, very similar to Kill Team, except for with one major difference. Kill Team is dominated by shooting, where Warcry is much more close combat focused, which I think works a little bit better for a skirmish game because you have so few miniatures. You want them all to kind of last and do things and run around. And if they're just getting zapped off the board from across the entire board, it can lead to kind of feel bad moments, especially when Sean gets a grenade off immediately in my deployment zone, turn 1, and blows up like 2 of my guys and guarantees I lose the game really badly and there's no possible way to recover, and so it's just gonna be a really, really bad time. Not speaking from personal experience, but Warcry is a really, really fun game, and this box, the Nightmare Quest, looks really interesting. It comes with the Stormcast Eternals, the Space Marines of Age of Sigmar. They're fine, they're really, really cool. I have an army of them, I like them, they're neat, but they do feel a little on the vanilla, especially compared to the other half of this box. But I do like these guys. I like Thunderstrike armor. I like that they're like Knights of Old plus. They got a little bit more going on. They're cool. They've got like sculpted pecs. Who doesn't love a good sculpted pec? They're very cool, but I think I'm more interested in the second half of this box because it is the Flesh Eater Quartz. Flesh Eater Quartz are one of the weirdest and interesting things for Age of Sigmar because they're a holdover from classic Warhammer Fantasy Battles, the vampire counts, where they were kind of split into 2 different things. You had the vampires proper, and then you had the hyenas from The Lion King. They literally are just ghouls who live off in the elephant graveyards. They're really weird and really kind of sickly, ghoulish, vampire-ish monsters, and they do not get a lot of love. They're not really a full army. You can totally play them as a full army, but there's only like 4 kits available to them, and most of those kits are also shared with the Soul Blop Bleep Blops, and so they're not even like that unique, but I like them a lot. I feel like there's a lot of really cool room for interesting kit bashing and converting. I would really like to just see what I could do with it and make them into a full army. I'm really sad that Forge World discontinued the Mourngull miniature. I love that thing. Imagine that creepy Wendigo looking guy just sitting right in the middle of a giant sea of ghouls. It would be amazing. But speaking of ghouls, these ghouls are really, really cool. Hopefully a little bit of a sign of things to come. I would love the Flesh Eater Quartz to get a little bit of love, and these miniatures, if they made new ghouls that look as good as these ghouls, I think I'd be down. And it's not just ghouls, there are zombie baboons. Is that not the greatest thing of all time? I think that these miniatures are gonna be a little bit divisive because they are really, really weird, but I like it. They're just bloated zombie baboons with bones shoved through them and just white hollow eyes. They're really creepy and weird, and I really like it. I wouldn't mind like if they kept this going. Like I want zombie zebras and zombie giraffes for these guys. It would be so weird and a really, really good way to actually distance them from the Soul Blight Gravelords. Worst name Games Workshop ever came up with. The Soul Blighted would have been a great name. The Grave Lords would have been so cool, but the Soul Blight Grave Lords is too much. It's too much Games Workshop. The Flesh Eater Court is a little thing that I just kind of love. They're a lovely holdover from classic Warhammer Fantasy Battles, and I like it a lot. And the terrain piece that comes in this kit is also a holdover from Fantasy Battles. It is the terrain piece for the Seraphon. And it works perfectly. It works perfectly alongside the weird finger trees that's coming out with all of these Warcry boxes. Also another kind of divisive thing, I love the finger trees. I love how weird and fleshy they are. I get that not everybody is into it, and some people would probably want just more generic trees so they were easier to use with anything or would look a little bit more appropriate in any setting. But I love weird, gross, like Cronenberg stuff. And I'm a particular fan of the color magenta. And I feel like a magenta wash over these things would make them so fleshy and off-putting. I love it. Warcry is a really fun, imaginative, and inventive game, and I really, really dig it. This weekend, Games Workshop is doing a made-to-order on some of the old Chaos Space Marine stuff, including probably the best miniature they've ever made, certainly the best Demon Prince, the Juan Diaz Demon Prince. Think of your favorite miniatures from all of Warhammer 40,000 and probably Age of Sigmar and like Warhammer Fantasy Battles. Juan Diaz probably sculpted all of them. This miniature, in my mind, this is the Demon Prince. I like the new Demon Prince they came out with. It looks lovely. It's got some great options for running it as any of the 4 Chaos Gods. This miniature is perfect. It looks like a Chaos Space Marine who's just grown bigger through the powers of the warp. It's just lovely. I don't think I'm gonna get it because I collect Nurgle and I already have the old Nurgle Demon Prince, and that model is also beautiful and lovely and I love it. But this miniature, I've seen a couple of metal versions of this floating around. I believe this one is going to be resin, because it was sold as a resin kit before they discontinued it. Resin components, yes, this is a resin miniature. The metal one was like a baseball of metal. You could chuck it at the wall and it would go right through the drywall. This miniature is one of the best things that has ever happened. And I don't think that they've ever done a Demon Prince that just feels so appropriately a Chaos Space Marine who has been anointed by the Chaos Gods and elevated to the level of Prince, a Prince of Evil. Just the fact that the top, the little like hood of the helmet, the little air intake that Space Marine helmets have is on the top of his demon head. The backpack that is kind of grown out into these wings. The hand, like the gun has been built into the gauntlet of his weapon. He actually has all of the pieces of Chaos Space Marine armor on him. They're just big and twisted. It's really, really nice. And the plastic kits that came out, which is a beloved kit that is awesome and beautiful in its own way, is not as good as this miniature. This miniature is perfection. The only thing that the plastic kit had, that has since been discontinued and replaced by a better plastic kit, the only thing that model had going for it is it really looked like he was given the middle finger. And I don't think I saw a Demon Prince where somebody didn't use the middle finger hand. It's just lovely. It's just a lovely little meme. But the Juan Diaz Demon Prince coming back from the dead for pretty much just this weekend. I think it was available all week, but I missed out on them bringing back all of the Dark Eldar stuff. I should have snatched it up. Who knows when that stuff is gonna be coming back? I really like the sliths, the weird little snake guys. Really, really cool stuff. And speaking of cool stuff, they came out with a whole bunch of miniatures for Age of Sigmar proper. Some of them are fine, and one of them is probably going to be like seen at every Golden Demon, dozens and dozens of entries for the rest of time. The Pestilent Prophet of Nurgle. This miniature is a piece of art. I mean, all miniatures are a piece of art, but this one literally only exists to give painters something to work on. It is beautiful. The shape of the horse kind of making a circle, and then that circle is also seen in the curvature of his little sickle, the crow, all the little details. He's basically standing on a display base with that slate rock and the sign. It is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I don't know why they're able to do such amazing things with Nurgle. It's just, I think Nurgle just gives you a lot of freedoms to have cloth and chainmail and ooze and goo and pustules, and I guess it just gives you enough freedom to do anything you can possibly think of, because I think the Nurgle range is some of the strongest stuff from Games Workshop, where other things have to be a little bit more plain. But man, that model is perfection. And speaking of perfection, the new Flesh Eater Court guy, I really hope that this is showing off some of the things to come, because this guy is phenomenal. I've heard a couple of people say that his giant double-ended sickle covered in bones is a little much. And I agree, it's a little much, but I like a little much. This guy is really silly and gross, and I really, really hope that they overhaul the Flesh Eater Courts. I don't think it's gonna happen immediately, because further down this page, they show off some groupings of miniatures that they're gonna be selling in big boxes, and it comes with the old ghoul stuff. So it doesn't seem like right off the bat we're gonna be getting some new Flesh Eater Court, but I really, really like this miniature. And then we've got a dwarf. It's a very nice model. It's fine. I'm not a big fan of the Fire Slayers. I get it. They're dwarfy. They're cool. I do like how poppy and colorful they are. I like that their red hair is kind of fire-esque, and it kind of goes along with their lava and mining aesthetic. They're very well done, but they don't jimmy my jams. They don't flim my flams. They're all right. Although, you know what does flim my flams? The Gloom Spike gets. They're just really, really fun and silly, and I like this guy. He's a little loon with flying bats, which I kind of want to see, like a whole, like a unit of flying bats, just a swarm of them, little squig bats. I love it. They're really, really cute. In the original 40K Rogue Trader Orc book, that was like 200 pages long. It was absolutely absurd. On like every third page, there would be a new entry for a type of squig that exists. Like hair squigs, spider squigs, eyeball squigs. Every every single noun followed by squig you can possibly think of. Squigs are just a lovely, adorable little thing in the Warhammer universe, and I really like it. These guys are always fun. The little gobos, the little gits, they're always lovely. I don't think there's ever been a kit that doesn't knock my socks off. The Wolf Riders were a little bit of a departure from the silly vibe, but they're still really good. Like it's little tiny goblins who think that they're absolute badasses riding as knights of old riding these wolves. The Gloom Spike Gits are a lovely, lovely addition to Age of Sigmar. And this guy with his little sickle and his little baseball bat and his little mushrooms and his little squig friends, it is absolutely adorable. As adorable as the Gloom Spike Gits are, though, I want to depart from Age of Sigmar back into Warhammer 40k, or I guess Warhammer 30k, because although they're technically the same thing, basically. But Games Workshop unveiled a new Imperial Knight, a plastic Serastus Knight, which is really, really interesting. It's the first Titan E model we're seeing leave resin and go to plastic. And I am here for it. Holy cow. Are the Titans, the resin Titans, the worst thing ever? I mean, they're really, really cool, but man, is resin just the absolute worst material for giant, heavy, spindly, delicate, giant mecha robots. I have wanted a Serastus Knight for a very long time. It's been sitting in my cart for ages and ages, literally years since they came out from Forge World. I like them a lot. I feel like they look a little bit better than the regular Imperial Knights, which still do look excellent, but these guys do feel a little bit more knightly with their long, long legs, and they're really, really cool kind of Knights of Old weapons, and it's plastic. It's gonna be plastic. I'm so, so excited for a plastic Serastus. Thank goodness that the resin is gone, and the one that you can buy on Forge World is $345. I wonder what price point the plastic one's gonna come in at, because it's gonna be less, but how much less? The biggest Knight that you can buy from Games Workshop is, I think, $180. It's a lot of money. It's a really big miniature, but it's a lot of money. This guy is considerably bigger than that. Is Games Workshop gonna come out with a single miniature that's like, pushes that $200 mark? Like for $200, you can buy a giant box full of miniatures, or this one Knight. It's gonna be $250. It's definitely not gonna be $300, I hope. I mean, whatever it is, it's gonna be a better deal than getting the Forge World one, and it's gonna be far superior in quality because it's plastic. It's actually gonna be light. It's actually not going to be trying to break itself. Resin, the only way to attach resin is really to pin it and super glue it, and it's still every moment of every day trying to break itself. But plastic is so light that it doesn't really matter. The super glue or plastic glue is more than enough to keep it all stuck together. I'm really, really excited for this guy. I might have to do another 24-hour Titan build, because these guys, they're just fun, but they are a little bit dangerous. It's one of those miniatures that can kind of drag on for weeks and weeks if you really spread out the building and painting of them. Because I love the feeling of finishing a miniature and then I have a spreadsheet where I go on and I update my spreadsheet with like what I painted and the date that I actually painted it on. And it's always a huge bummer whenever I'm doing like a really big vehicle or tank, because instead of being like, oh yeah, I finished 2 models on Monday, I finished a 10-man squad on Wednesday, and then I finished Friday off with two more miniatures, 2 more boats finished. All of a sudden, like an entire week goes by and it's like, yep, that still only counts as 1. But I like these guys a lot. I have a plan. I really wish, I like the Lancer a lot. It's a really cool miniature, but I wish that they were coming out with the flamethrower chainsaw guy, because I think for my Titan Legion that I may or may not be starting, and you guys may or may not see it on the channel, it's gonna be a flamethrower Legion. It's gonna be oops, all flamethrower and Melta. It's gonna be really, really cool. And maybe one or a few of these guys are gonna be part of it. I'm really excited for the Knight Serastus coming to plastic, but you know what I'm even more excited for? That's right, our Patreon. Over there, we have a brand new STL terrain pack every single month. This month, we have the Orc Brewery, a lovely, completely unofficial expansion to the Octerus terrain, full of lovely, lovely details and a stage for the Goth Rockers. We also make one extra episode of Eons of Battle every single week where we take a look at our viewers' miniatures and give them some ideas and critiques of how to improve their painting. We host live Discord hangouts, and we have a tier where you can get your name on one of my Black Templar Space Marines and you can join the Immortal Crusade. An incredible amount of new miniatures. I'm very excited for them, although I think the only one that is like a guaranteed trigger pull is the new Serastus Knight, depending on how much it costs. I really hope that it's a very good deal compared to the Forge World one, but it's probably just going to be a slight deal compared to the Forge World one. But I really, really like that miniature. And I'm definitely gonna have to find a way to get those zombie baboons. Thanks for watching.